A product demo concludes, and the room falls silent as the device feels inevitable and deeply personal. Minutes later, the same team debates over a screw head and a shade of white, as if everything hinges on it. This approach stems from treating products as integrated experiences, where design, engineering, and messaging must align. It also arises from an intense drive for control and perfection that refuses any hidden compromises in the final details. When this integration works, new categories can be reshaped, and customers feel that complex technology has become intuitive. When it fails, teams ship clutter, lose meaning, and spend years copying competitors instead of creating something distinct. A team stays late refining a feature, then redoes it again because the experience still feels slightly confusing. The next morning, the bar rises higher, and the entire roadmap narrows to a few decisive choices. The next ideas cover focus, simplicity, persuasion, and culture, plus the hidden costs of intensity and control. This video is inspired by Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, and subscribe for more lessons on building products through focus, simplicity, and integrated thinking. Early identity can create a lifelong belief that being chosen requires proving worth through control and craft. When a child hears that parents specifically chose them, the mind can link love to exceptional standards. That link can build independence and risk tolerance, as approval feels earned by building rather than fitting in. It can also produce a need to control environments, since unpredictability reactivates old fears of being discarded. In one childhood exchange, a neighbour asked whether the biological parents did not want the child. The parents answered that they specifically picked him out, and the emphasis turned pain into a permanent identity. This pattern helps explain why product decisions became personal and why small flaws could feel like moral failures. The same drive can power long stretches of innovation when it is channeled into clear standards and team discipline. A useful move is to separate identity from output so that criticism becomes information and not a verdict. Another move is to write 3 non-negotiable standards, then allow everything else to evolve through iteration and feedback. A reality distortion field is a persuasive atmosphere where certainty bends schedules, facts, and expectations around one vision. It mixes charm, will, and selective facts, making improbable deadlines feel normal within the room. Used well, it pushes teams beyond cautious averages and creates momentum that would not appear under ordinary planning. Used poorly, it can slide into self-deception, where disagreement is treated as disloyalty and warning signs are ignored. On the early Macintosh team, an engineer called the schedule impossible, and another described it as a Star Trek-like field. The phrase meant that reality felt malleable nearby, and people delivered because they stopped trusting their own limits. This approach connects to the broader strategy of making products that feel inevitable rather than negotiated by committee. It also explains why the same intensity that builds breakthroughs can also leave a trail of burned relationships. A practical safeguard is appointing one grounded voice to track constraints, risks, and trade-offs during every key decision. Pair that with a bold vision statement, so ambition stays high while facts still guide timing and scope. Simplicity means conquering complexity, not hiding it, so the product feels obvious even when it is advanced. The process involves delving into the details, then removing everything non-essential until only the essence remains. This reduces cognitive load, as people can master a device quickly without reading a manual or fearing mistakes. It also raises the quality bar within teams, since every extra part or option must justify its existence. A designer once explained that removing screws can make a product more complex unless manufacturing is reconsidered. The better approach is to understand the entire build, then eliminate parts that only exist because no one questioned them. This is why design is treated as the fundamental soul of what gets made, not just a decorative shell. When design and engineering collaborate from the start, simplicity becomes a system property rather than a surface style. Try listing every feature, part or screen, then ask which ones support the essence and which ones distract. If deep simplicity sounds useful, subscribe for future videos that translate design quotes into concrete product choices. An integrated system means that hardware, software, and content are designed together, ensuring a consistent experience end to end. Centralized control over interfaces and standards prevents mismatched parts from damaging the overall feel. When integration is strong, simplicity becomes possible because each layer supports the next rather than fighting it. When systems are fragmented, users inherit the complexity of coordination, and companies lose the ability to enforce quality. A later talk compared post-PC devices to older computers, arguing they need even tighter intertwining of software and hardware. The contrast was drawn against ecosystems where different firms build each layer, resulting in a less intuitive outcome. This integrated approach aligns with the temperament that links personality and products, where intensity and control shape outcomes. It also explains the recurring preference for closed appliances over open tinkering, even when openness appears friendlier. A useful step is to choose one experience promise, and then audit every interface, policy, and partnership against that promise. Then, decide which elements must be controlled centrally and which can be opened safely without breaking the experience. Innovation is seen as a harmonious blend of art and engineering, where intuitive judgment guides the next steps in creation. The process involves reading signals before the data, then transforming that hunch into a product through disciplined execution. This prevents teams from following surveys too strictly, as customers often struggle to articulate what they will want. It prioritizes products over profits, shaping hiring, promotions, and who is listened to. One account contrasted two leadership styles, where profit became the primary goal and product excellence took a back seat. The alternative was building a lasting company where people are motivated to create great products above all else. This approach aligns with the broader principle of integrating the entire experience, ensuring that intuition is supported by skill. It also explains why market research and focus groups are approached with caution, as the goal is to reveal a new need. A practical step is to list 3 human frustrations that technology can alleviate, then explore a simple experience around them. Finally, one sentence about the intersection of usability and artistry should guide every decision regarding features. The key lesson is that lasting innovation demands a keen sense of taste, combined with systems that translate this taste into consistent, repeatable work. The aim is not to seek charisma alone, but to establish a disciplined approach that connects creativity with technology on a large scale. You observed how early identity can empower control, and how persuasion can push teams beyond ordinary limits. You also witnessed how deep simplicity, tight integration, and a product-first culture combine to create devices that people love. When these elements align, decisions become faster, designs cleaner, and the company can continually reinvent itself. When they misalign, intensity can become toxic, minor flaws escalate into conflict, and trust within the organization erodes. Begin by selecting one core experience promise, then eliminate 2 features or policies that contradict it, even if they are popular. Next, schedule a weekly review to assess simplicity, integration, and honesty about constraints, ensuring teams remain grounded. A culture that blends art and engineering can remain humane when standards are clear and respect is non-negotiable. If these principles help you lead product work with clearer focus, subscribe for more breakdowns that transform innovation into daily practice.